About a month ago, I got the new Lenovo Yoga Book 9i 10th generation 2025, this one, and in today's video I will review it compared to previous generations, as someone who actually used these devices for quite a long time, especially my 2023 Gen 8 laptop. I'm not a professional reviewer, I bought it with my own money, genuinely liked the old generation product, so I decided to buy an upgrade for myself. In this video I will not focus on the dual screen concept, because there are many other videos out there and they still relevant for the new generation. I will be mostly focusing on this specific iteration review and improvements over the previous generations. And let's start from the end. I will do conclusion and then go into details why do I think so. Compared to generation 8 and generation 9 slight iteration, this generation is a huge step forward, addressing big pain points of 2023 and 2024 year models, moving this laptop to a completely different category, making it more powerful and versatile. They upgraded screen to a bit bigger 14-inch size, with variable refresh rate up to 120 Hz. Also they finally put powerful CPU, with Intel 255H and 285H Core Ultra 7 and Ultra 9 processors. Apart from that, folio stand is also improved, Bluetooth keyboard now has long-awaited backlight. With all of this, battery life still remains quite good, and might be even better than on the older generations. We'll find out later. It's not all positive though. On the flip side, laptop color and materials changed a bit. It feels a bit more plasticky and screen glass now way softer under pressure. Most likely to save on weight, because all accessories are heavier now and they have to keep total travel weight in check. Total travel weight is still about 100 grams more than on previous generations. The laptop itself got lighter, but all accessories got noticeably heavier. Also, to cool down the new powerful processor, this laptop can be quite loud under load, but I think it's comparable to other modern laptops in this light and thin category. I measured somewhere around 50 decibels under full load. Now let's talk about price. Price in Europe starts from about 2,500 euro and up to about 3,000 if you spec it fully up. Also, it is available in some markets in Asia, so check your local prices. If it will be ever released in US, I think it might have some comparable prices. A little update from a future me. This review took so much time, but it got released in the US already, starting from about $2,000. So now we can start the review itself. Use timecodes if you are interested in something specific, but we are starting with unboxing. Packaging has slightly changed in size and graphics, but the same idea, beautiful package nonetheless. What's inside the box? Comparing to the Gen 8 I bought here in Europe on Amazon, wireless mouse was not included. This year we have mouse matching laptop color included. Another thing which was included but not matching the laptop was the pen. Now it's way nice, the latest yoga pen, and also matching laptop color. Small but very appreciated detail. Also you have some documents and guides, as well as a compact 65-watt charger. Let's quickly go through this laptop specifications. You can see it on the screen. If I miss something, please ask in the comments or check official Lenovo website. Most importantly, the new Arrow Lake Intel Core Ultra processors, Ultra 7 255H or Ultra 9 285H. My unit is with Ultra 7 255H. I bought it before we published 285H version. I didn't know we will release it, so I bought the 255H. Also, it can have up to 32 GB of RAM. In some markets, 32 GB is the default option. Also Wi-Fi 7 with Bluetooth 5.4, bigger battery capacity, updated sound system, 3 fully functional Thunderbolt 4 ports, 2 14-inch 120 Hz OLED screens with variable refresh rate support. More about screens later in the video. Visually, laptop changed a bit to the modern Lenovo laptop style with big logo on the back, which looks more minimalistic and beautiful at the same time. Yoga logo now is hidden inside on the speaker hinge. The laptop body color changed to more bluish teal color. It used to be more greenish. I hope you can see the difference in the video, but now it looks quite similar with other modern Lenovo laptops like normal Yoga 9i 2-in-1. The laptop got a bit bigger, but looks quite compact and light for a 14-inch. Let's compare the sizes with previous generation. As you can see, it got longer, but width is almost the same. Personally, I think it feels as compact as the old version. Don't have any discomfort with it. Laptop body feels a bit more plastic, less metal compared to the older model. I can even feel the difference in coldness after not using it for a while. I also have some isomer materials to check. Another hint is that we used to have special plastic inserts for antennas, and now we're completely gone. I'm not sure it's actually plastic, maybe it's just thinner metal which does not require it anymore, but I think they don't specify materials anywhere. A small update from the future me. I found this thing on Lenovo support site, and it looks like plastic to me, but still quite good with some reinforcements and antennas in the same places, just without plastic inserts. If you compare with the older generation bottom part, it looks clear that it's not the same material. Ports are exactly the same, 3 Thunderbolt 4 located on the same positions. I like that you can use any of them for charging or connecting devices. As usual, for this device, no audio jack, card reader or USB-A ports. Also, it has a physical camera switch and power button, and that's it, very minimalistic. Power button moved closer to ports this time, not sure it's better located than before. For example, you can accidentally press it when you unplug something from one of ports. Also, it has different click, it's less recessed and easier to click now, which means you might accidentally click it, but so far after a month I never had any issues with it. 360 hinge is also good to have, so you can use it in many different modes. Not going into much details in this video. Hinge now feels lighter but still not wobbly. Maybe it's actually good. Now it's easier to adjust the screen while laptop is on the stand. Another moment, when I close the laptop lid, there is a bit of gap in the center, in between screens. Old model closes very tight and even, with minimal gap. Another cool thing about this laptop is that cooling vents are on back and on sides, which means it will be not blocked on your lap or in tablet mode. Screens now are 14-inch with variable refresh rate up to 120 Hz, which for some reasons turn off by default on Windows, probably to save battery life, but you can easily turn it on. The new laptop has slightly rounded screen corners. Screen panel gaps look identical to me. Screen is as good as it was in the previous generation, great contrast and colors with OLED screens. The new screens are about 100 nits brighter in SDR, and it has about 600 nits in the HDR mode. The older model has greenish hue on the screen when turned off. The new one is completely black. I will try to show it on the video. Now about screen graininess or screen door effect. Yes, it does have some graininess, but only when you look at the screen very close. At normal distance, I barely noticing anything. I was trying to take some pictures, but let me know if you see something. In real life, there are no weird colorful things on the screen. It's just on the photo. So focus only on the pixels and the graininess itself. The new model has POLED technology, which makes it more flexible. Not sure why exactly it is in this laptop, but maybe to protect it from quite soft screen glass or rubber plastics, which leads me to idea that softer screen might be actually a good thing, because it's durable, more flexible, and it's harder to break compared to hard glass. So let's see how it works in the long run. But overall screen is a bit less sturdy, which is not good for me because I needed to put my keyboard on top, especially lower part where I put my palms on rest. Folio stand also improved, it's longer and has magnetic closing to keyboard, and the whole thing better protected. Also, despite the stand being longer, even when laptop is standing, now you can fold it, which makes laptop less stable when it's folded, but let you put laptop very close to something like a wall or a monitor. Also, it has a special, slightly lifted mode. Generally feels more sturdy, and because of that it's heavier. As many of you were asking, keyboard now has backlight. Also, keys texture changed to matte finish. Key travel is 1.5 mm. Generally, keyboard feels more like a proper Lenovo laptop keyboard, which is great. Older generation keyboard was also pleasant to type on, but you can feel the difference from normal keyboard. Cannot comment much on battery life, but with 1200 mAh battery it should be decent if you don't overuse backlight. There is also automatic backlight mode, which might help. With constant backlight turned on, it might be maximum about a week of battery life. Also, there are additional buttons on the right of a keyboard as it's got bigger. It has buttons for changing power modes, audio mode, eye care mode toggle, device collaboration button, and a customizable favorite app button. Lenovo Yoga pen included in the box. Apart from being color matched, pen now also rechargeable, has different replaceable tip style. I'm not a digital artist, but this pen feels way better to write and draw with than the previous generation pen. You still can replace it with something compatible if you wish for more professional use, but this one is also capable. I actually like using for some notes or some quick drawing, and of course it has some pressure sensitivity. Both pen and keyboard are magnetically attachable to the back of the screen, which is a nice improvement. They hold quite hard, so you can even walk like this in the room or office. I was even trying to jump with this laptop and it still holds tightly. Or even when you shake it upside down, nothing falls down, so it's quite strong. The laptop itself got lighter this year, but there is a twist in terms of overall travel weight. It got slightly heavier. Let's compare separate accessories weight first for Gen 10. Now the same, but Gen 8 and Gen 9. As you can see, there is some noticeable difference. So, and now full travel weight comparison. This is how it differs in weight. As you can see, because of improved keyboard and folio stand, despite the laptop being lighter, overall package weight is a bit more. This laptop has 5 megapixel camera with infrared sensors for Windows Hello or other compatible implementations. Also, camera has 2 microphones, we will check sound in a bit. Camera has a physical button, but it does not control it physically, or at least not directly. It also has some built-in AI features, which is nice, but not a big deal. You already know how it all works. Let's see camera and built-in microphone quality. Let me know what you think. 1025 Yoga Book, camera test, 1, 2, 3. Okay. I think this year it's actually got better, but let's check the older generation camera too. For comparison, this is 2023 model camera and microphone sound quality. Yoga Book 2023 camera test 1, 2, 3. Speakers have improved this year. Let's have a listen and compare it to Generation 8 and MacBook Air M2. All laptops are at about 70% volume, because we compare sound, not the max volume. My wife agrees that the new Yoga Book sound is more interesting than the old one and her M2 MacBook Air. So what do you think? I will not go into details on how to use this laptop in Windows. It's not changed much compared to previous generations, so you can find information easily, but in general it got more polished and easier to use. There is an additional option for on-screen keyboard to make it smaller and movable. Everything else pretty much the same, and after the latest update I got the same small keyboard on the Gen 8 model, so it's actually the same. But I might be wrong because I'm not using Windows 99% of the time. Let me know if there is something I missed. As a note, because some people are actually curious about two screens use cases, what are my personal ones? Software development. One screen for IDE or editor, another screen for terminal, technical specifications, documentation, application runs, or in case of front-end development, your website. Research. One screen for notes, another screen for browser or other information sources. Work meetings. One screen for video call, another for specification or any other documents. Video production. One screen for video editor, another screen for notes or script. As someone who actually prefers a single screen 99% of the time, I found smaller dual screens work as good as one big screen. You get all benefits of two screens for any productive tasks like programming, meeting, studying, drawing, video editing, and etc. with a nice and customizable layout, horizontal or book mode. On top of that, it can be in tablet or tent mode, and all of that you can easily get with you anywhere you want to go. Even when I don't need the second screen, I can just turn off the bottom one, put laptop on the stand, and benefit from a comfortably raised screen to reduce back back and neck pain from slouching over normal laptop for long periods of time. Also, I prefer custom split keyboards to conventional ones, so when I'm on the go or want to move out of a desk for a bit, I just put my small wireless Ferris sweep keyboard on top of the bottom screen and use it on my lap. Yes, you can turn off a normal laptop keyboard and do the same, but Yoga Book has perfectly flat surface to put anything on it without chance to press on something and make your keyboard move. A little note about quite annoying thing on Lenovo laptops. There is absolutely no coil whine on this laptop. Probably I got lucky. Lenovo known to have issues with this. For example, I have quite expensive ThinkPad Z16, which has very strong coil whine. Okay, so let's look at some synthetic benchmarks. CPU first. So there is Cinebench R23, Cinebench R24, Geekbench 6 for CPU, GPU OpenGL, and GPU with Vulkan. Let's also run the browser speedometer on both Linux and Windows. Few notes regarding benchmarks. I also run it in different modes, so on battery with performance mode there is no drop in performance. On battery with balance mode some noticeable performance drop but not too big. On battery with power save mode quite big performance drop. Another benchmark is Passmark and also 7Z benchmark. So overall CPU performance is actually strong. Now let's check GPU. So I run 3D Mark and there are some results. I run most of GPU benchmark with a single screen mode. It seems to perform slightly better this way. In fact 5 to 10% lower results in multi-screen mode. I'm including one test as a comparison. Also results from some other GPU tests. So GPU performance is also quite good, close to 140V in Lunar Lake. Some people say that GPU in the new Arrow Lake processor actually not as strong as in the Lunar Lake, because it's built on the older Alchemist architecture instead of Battle Mage as in 140V. So it might be true because this laptop is getting quite comparable results, but it drains more watts to get it. Also default Intel GPU driver is not approved by 3D Mark, so they might cheat on this benchmark, but I'm not sure, just something I saw people on the internet say. So SSD drive speeds are quite normal for Gen 4 SSD. So another thing, I was checking some system stability. So throttling not existing during sustained load. So after short period of turbo frequencies, laptop can sustain about 2.9 GHz on performance cores with below 78 Celsius temperatures. Fans are quite noticeable but not too loud. I would say quite normal for 14-inch laptop. I measured something around 50 decibels on full load. I also measured how many watts the laptop consumes on idle with different modes, as well as while running benchmarks with different modes. All tests were done with 120Hz screens enabled and 50% of brightness. Watts consumption on idle with power save mode, balanced mode, and performance mode. Now watts on idle balanced mode one screen. During browser test on balanced mode from 12 to almost 17 watts. During benchmark runs, sustained load on balanced mode runs at about 36 watts. Also you can see temperatures during sustained load on balanced mode actually keeps it quite cool. Now running Cinebench with performance mode, short time spike to almost 65 watts, and after a few minutes it goes down to around 49 watts sustained. You can also see temperatures during this runs even cooler than on balanced mode. Now running the same benchmark on battery saver mode, sustained at about 25 watts, and also CPU temperatures very low. And the last one during YouTube video playback, it consumes around 12 watts. During all the benchmark runs, laptop doesn't feel too hot. I don't have a device to measure the temperature, but the bottom screen on the top is barely warm. It's noticeably warm on the back, but not to the point you cannot touch it, like it was sometimes on the previous generations, or for example on my ThinkPad Z16. The speaker grill can get hot, which confirms my theory that it's probably the only metal part in this laptop, maybe except for the laptop frame and some internals. During idle load on battery with balance mode, CPU package is around 54 Celsius. When it opens then jumps to 70 and back in a second. When plugged in, temperatures are about 6 Celsius higher, all with a room temperature of 25 Celsius. Interesting quirk, when you run something heavy on laptop and switch it into tablet mode, fans get quiet and let CPU to heat way more. I don't know if it's a bug or they let it to be hot because you don't touch the back part of a laptop anymore, but it actually runs closer to 90 Celsius in this case, which is very hot. I checked idle time battery shown in Windows 11 and Vantage up. charge laptop to 100% and let it drain until 98%, then check estimated time. You can see the table with time and different modes. Another test I did is a simple script opening random website from a list once a minute and keep doing it from 80% battery to 70% in balance mode. Screens were both on 120 Hz mode and 50% brightness. I got 7.9 hours estimated result. When I did the same test on the older Gen 8 model, I got 7.7 hours with 50% brightness. It's not bad considering 120 Hz bigger and brighter screen, but also battery capacity increased by 10% to compensate for more power-hungry CPU. Even in real-life usage, I feel like they are quite comparable in terms of battery life. The 10th generation might be even slightly better. I cannot comment on the 9th generation since I don't have it, but tests on the internet saying it should be about the same battery life as Gen 8. Unfortunately, I cannot easily check internals. It's possible, but it's not a review unit. This is my personal device and I plan to continue using it. So there is a video guide made by Lenovo on how to open the 8th generation laptops. For this generation should be quite similar process. Essentially, you have to remove lower screen, pull out adhesive stripes, and you will be able to remove the bottom screen and access internals. But nonetheless, kudos for Lenovo to not use glue to attach screens, so it's possible to open the laptop at home without any special tools. You can even order some spare parts from the official page and replace them if you need, but it might be quite expensive. And a little update, it seems like we released some parts on support page, so I can tell for sure the thermals are the same for 255H and 285H. Motherboards also look identical. We use two identical fans, they look quite powerful, but heatsink is still relatively small. Another thing I like about this laptop is that we kept the separate I/O daughter board internal design, meaning if one of your USB ports is dead, you don't have to replace the whole motherboard, only small right or left I/O board. It will cost you about 60 euro in parts instead of 800 plus for the whole new motherboard. Even on some modern classic ThinkPads, which are supposed to be fixable, USB ports are soldered into motherboard. I'm looking at you, my T480 laying in the closet. And of course you can order spare keyboard or keyboard with different layout, folio stand if you manage to break or wear it out too much. Regarding Linux support, I tested with Fedora 42 beta and my main NixOS distribution config I use on Gen 8 laptop, so I would divide my results in 4 categories. Let's start with what works on both Gen 8 and Gen 10. Both screens actually work with 120 Hz refresh rate. The only issue, the top screen will be upside down, so we have to invert it in settings. Also Wi-Fi and Bluetooth works out of the box, which is nice. CPU and GPU both work fine, as this is the normal x86 processor. No surprises here. Camera and microphone works fine on both laptops and Linux. The next category is what does not work fine on both of them. The first one is speakers. On Gen 8 soundbar works, but no bass speakers. There is a fix on 14-inch Yoga 9i 2-in-1, but it never got fixed on the Yoga Book. On Gen 10 there is no sound at all, only dummy output, but this might be relatively easy to fix with proper firmware and kernel support. Not so sure about bass speakers. Bluetooth headphones work fine. Battery life seems to be lower on Linux, but it's quite normal, still getting more than 8 hours in my software development setup with both screens on. All the two screen magic will not work, you have to be comfortable with scripts. I have set of scripts to make it work, but it's not the most user friendly. More on that in future videos. Suspend does not work, but I didn't invest much time into fixing it. Touchscreen behaves strangely, so you don't have touch on the bottom screen, only on the top. I found a workaround, but you lose multi-touch capabilities and can have only one screen with active touch at a time. I hope this also can be fixed in kernel driver with some small patches. Pen works good on both screens, but if you do the trick I mentioned, it's also limited to one screen only. I plan to try to fix it, since it's the only critical limitations for me. Now the next category is what finally works on Gen 10, but didn't work on Gen 8. Laptop now can shut down, reboot and hibernate without being stuck with power on. This was very annoying on Gen 8 and I had to use workaround to reboot into refined and shut down on timeout. Now what does not work on Gen 10? Brightness control does not work, so you have to use some gamma brightness like redshift or gamma step. Luckily for OLED screens, it's the native way to adjust brightness, so it just works fine, just a bit less convenient. Speakers don't work at all, only Bluetooth. Now let's go to some closing thoughts. After all, I choose device type first, and there are not so many options for this type of devices and processor in them, so I am grateful that Lenovo made it really powerful this time and didn't put some low wattage CPU version. Yes, GPU performance compared to Lunar Lake is matched or even slightly worse in real life, but this laptops has more multi-thread power, which might be suitable for people doing actual creative work. This is how we advertise this laptop after all. Lunar Lake laptops are great consumer laptops with some gaming capabilities. This one is leaning more to producers or prosumers. Saying that CPU is too powerful for GPU does make sense only for gaming applications. I strongly believe this laptop is not for gamers, maybe for occasional light gaming, but most of the time it means to do work like programming, music production, design, video editing, photo editing, and so on. You got the idea. And this laptop shines in these areas, and form factor makes it a great choice. Which exactly model to choose? Core Ultra 9 or Ultra 7? I think Core Ultra 7 suits this laptop more. If you want the best possible performance, CPU and GPU, but you can sacrifice battery life, so you can go with 285H version. For most people, 255H Core Ultra 7 option is more than enough. And to close this video, I think Lenovo did a great job with this generation, trying to fit more power without too many compromises. I wish dual screen laptops get more recognized and popular when we'll have more products and options available. It would be nice to see this laptop, for example, with AMD processor and maybe better Linux support by Lenovo, like we do with ThinkPads, for example. As a bonus, if you watch until the end, my wife made a crochet bag for this laptop with match and teal color, and I think it looks cool. So that's it. I hope you enjoyed this video. See you in the next one.